Let's finish up by taking a look at some of the counterarguments leveled against my position by defenders of homeopathy to see if they stand up to scrutiny. In his article entitled In Defensive Homeopathy, Larry Malerba writes the following, quote, "Despite relentless criticism from skeptics and fundamentalists, homeopathy has withstood the test of time. Given so much organized resistance from the mainstream, one would think that if homeopathy were much ado about nothing, it would not have endured. It would have withered on the vine a long time ago, and yet it has persisted." End quote. What kind of a silly point is this? How long a particular belief has been around has no bearing on the truth or falsity of this belief. We could imagine somebody 500 years ago saying, look, people have believed for hundreds of years that the earth is flat. This belief has withstood the test of time. We could also imagine that some new scientific discovery is made right now at this very second. The fact that the person who just made this discovery has been believing this claim for about 10 seconds doesn't automatically make the belief false. The truth of a claim does not depend upon the amount of time that a particular claim has been believed for. It's instead dependent upon whether or not the claim is in accordance with the way that the world is. Malerba takes another stroll down fallacy lane when he writes the following, quote, "Today there are well over 200,000 homeopathic practitioners in India alone. Is it possible that so many doctors and patients could be wrong about a medical therapy that they rely upon for their own personal health and well-being?" End quote. Yeah, actually it is possible. In fact, that is precisely the case. You could make the exact same argument about any number of unjustified claims. Everybody in the village believes that the rain dance is effective. Is it possible for so many of us to be so wrong about a ritual when the very success of our crops depends upon it? Yes, it's very possible. It's extremely possible that that is the case. Millions of people across the planet believe that prayer is effective or that hell is a real place. The fact that a large number of people believe a particular thing doesn't automatically make that thing true. Malerba also points out, quote, "the remarkable growth of homeopathy and the testimony of millions of satisfied patients who swear by its effectiveness." End quote. Cherry-picked first-hand accounts are not a reliable source of medical data. As the saying goes, the plural of anecdote is not data. Plenty of people believe that they have been abducted by aliens and experimented upon. The fact that they can present such a testimony is not convincing evidence of extraterrestrial anal probing. But if we're going to go down this road anyway, what about the millions of people who have tried homeopathy and found it to be completely ineffective? What kind of a one-sided approach is it that accepts the testimony of those who speak favorably of homeopathy and ignores those who reject it? This is textbook confirmation bias, counting the hits and forgetting the misses. But I will concede that homeopathy does provide some benefit to the world, because its defenders provide countless examples of how not to think rationally. You don't just ask people how they feel after taking a particular treatment, and then draw your conclusion right then and there, because people's conditions can improve for a number of different reasons. For example, if we just sit around and do nothing, given enough time, certain pains or illnesses will go away on their own, as the body repairs itself and as the immune system works its magic. There's also the placebo effect, where the belief that one is receiving an effective treatment can produce either perceived or actual improvements in one's condition. If you give somebody a treatment, they say, "I feel better," and you conclude that the treatment is responsible, you are not thinking rationally because you have not exhausted alternative explanations. Maybe the treatment was responsible. That's a possibility. But maybe the treatment is completely ineffective and they just feel better for psychosomatic reasons. Or maybe their body just fought off the infection on its own. This is precisely why we have control groups in scientific experiments, to distinguish between effects brought about by the treatment and effects brought about by other factors. The fact that some people will tell you that a treatment works doesn't actually prove that the treatment works. He also points out that, quote, "homeopathic treatment is known for its lack of side effects," end quote. Yeah, and it's also known for its lack of effects. Inert sugar pills aren't exactly notorious for causing people to shit their pants or start convulsing on the ground. James Randi, in his lectures on the subject, has been overdosing on homeopathic pills for years, and somehow he just hasn't noticed any adverse effects.
I have to do something now which seems a little bit strange for a magician, but I'm going to take some medication. This is a full bottle of Calms Forte. I'll explain that in just a moment. Ignore the instructions. That's what the government has to put in there to confuse you, I'm sure. I will take enough of these. Indeed, the whole container. "32 caplets of Calms Forte." And that's what this is. This is Calms Forte, 32 caplets of sleeping pills. I forgot to tell you that. I just ingested 6.5 days worth of sleeping pills. 6.5 days, that certainly is a fatal dose. It says right on the back here, in case of overdose, contact your poison control center immediately, and it gives an 800 number. Keep your seats, it's going to be okay. I don't really need it. Because I've been doing this stunt for audiences all over the world for the last 8 or 10 years, taking fatal doses of homeopathic sleeping pills. Why don't they affect me?
Malherbe goes on to write that, quote, "The worst offenders are the ones who call themselves scientific skeptics. Although they claim to speak for science, their willful refusal to consider the facts exposes them as anti-scientific defenders of scientistic dogma. Their pathological disbelief in all things holistic and unconventional is a violation of the open-minded spirit of genuine scientific inquiry." End quote. He gets it completely wrong here. We're not just blindly disbelieving as a default position. We're not refusing to consider the facts. We've examined the facts and concluded that they do not support the idea that homeopathy is an effective treatment. We're disbelieving because the philosophical underpinnings of homeopathy are ridiculous, and the scientific evidence does not support its efficacy. If the evidence unequivocally demonstrated that homeopathy is a very effective treatment, why would we deny this? Why would we not be racing to the nearest homeopath to cure us of our every illness and defect? I am open to evidence, and I am open to a revision in my beliefs. As the saying goes, keep an open mind, just not so open that your brains fall out. I'm on Patreon. There's a link in the description if you'd like to support my content. I would really appreciate it. There's also social media links in there if you want to follow me there. I'm trying to build up some of those followings. I would really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe for more videos if you haven't already. Hit the bell, hit the like button, post a fucking comments. All that fun stuff that's standard on YouTube. You know the fucking drill. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.